Secretary, please call the roll of members. Oh, I'm sorry. We have another song. Please proceed with the singing. My apologies.
Let's go, Steph.
Shout it out! Everybody's gonna dance to this. I see the whole world party in the Philippines. Philippines now with you and me. Everybody singing for the Philippines. Hey, it's like a samba from here to Manila when they hit the drum set, shaking up the beat, so like no more drama. We gotta choose for the beat, so we're not gonna know what keep stopping, but we ain't walking. We keep on dancing, that's why we're rocking. 7,107 islands of BDC pieces of heaven.
Maraming salamat sa University of the Philippines Choir. University of the San Santo Tomas Choir. Sorry, Majority Leader. UST pala.
Proud of it, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you.
I was waiting for the iconic Go Ste chant, but
Yes, Secretary, please call the roll of members.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Angara. Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 23 senators present, the chair declares the presence of the quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journals of the 73rd session, Tuesday, May 14, 2024, and the 74th session, Wednesday, May 15, 2024, and consider the same as approved.
There have been no objection to the motion of the Majority Floor Leader. Motion is approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. May we proceed for our third reading, Mr. President, with the consent of the body. I move that we proceed with the third reading of several bills, the printed copies of which were electronically distributed to the members of this August chamber on May 16, 2024, in compliance with the 3D rule in the Constitution. And so with that, Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2560. This is the bill on the Anti-Financial Account Scamming Act, or AFASA. I so move, Mr. President.
There have been no objection and motion is approved. We ask Secretary to read the title and proceed with the roll call vote.
An act defining and penalizing financial account scamming and other offenses and providing for the enforcement mechanisms therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva,
Yes.
Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
Yes. With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 2560 is approved on third reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. At this juncture, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2528. This is the bill amending and adding new sections of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997. I so move, Mr. President.
There be no objection. Motion is approved. Ask Secretary to read the title and proceed with the roll call vote.
An act amending sections 105, 108, 109, 110, 113, 114, 115, and 236, and adding new sections 108-A and 108-B of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero,
of these three franchise measures that will ensure our kababayans in Romblon, Leyte, and Negros continued access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy. More importantly, allow me to express my gratitude to Senators Gatchalian, Pimentel, and Hontiveros for their time and effort to improve these measures. We may have had differences in opinion, but I know for sure that we share the same objective of providing comfort and convenience to our consumers by ensuring quality and uninterruptible power service. It is my hope that the grant of franchise to these power distribution utilities will pave the way for better and more expansive power service in the country. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Poe. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, at this juncture, may I move that we recognize our beloved Senate President, Juan Miguel Zubiri, for his speech.
We recognize Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri.
Thank you very much, Madam President. My President, Mr. President, my esteemed colleagues, I rise on a matter of collective and personal privilege. I've always said that I serve at the pleasure of my colleagues, and I thank them for entrusting me with the monumental responsibility of leading the Senate over the past 2 years. It has been my greatest honor of my life as a public servant and the greatest challenge. Never could I have imagined as a neophyte senator learning the ropes from some of the best luminaries of the Senate in Senate history, such as Ed Angara, Joker Arroyo, Miriam Defensor Santiago, Juan Ponce Enrile, Frank Drilon, and many others, that I would one day bear the blessing and burden of the Senate presidency itself. I have given this job my all. Not only have I maintained my untarnished record as a public servant and my streak of perfect attendance since 1998, but I have also done my best to rise to the occasion as a leader responsible for this entire institution and everyone under its care. Today, I look back on these 2 years with immense pride on what the Senate has accomplished and stood for under my leadership. In these 2 years, we have legislated with an eye towards progress and a heart for service. We have spearheaded landmark measures as the Public-Private Partnership Code, the Maharlika Investment Fund, the Internet Transactions Act, the Real Property Valuation Assessment Reform Act, the LGU Income Classification Act, and the Anti-Financial Scamming Act, and many, many other measures that bring a more dynamic economic landscape and create more jobs and opportunities for our people. On the table, we have more economic measures that we expect to pass soon. Primarily the Create More and the new Government Procurement Act. Our first year was led by our mission of national reconstruction. We had to look inwards to assess what we lost during the pandemic and build solutions from there. But in our second year, we could afford to stretch our necks out a bit more, and we could look outward and explore opportunities for bilateral and multilateral cooperation. We could afford to reach out to establish stronger presence on the global stage. In a historic move, we've never had this man or that level of leadership from Japan. We called the joint session to hear an address from Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio. It was us, our dear colleagues, who invited him to address the joint session of Congress in our trip to Japan. And we had the honor of listening to a message from the former Senate UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in this very hall at the invitation of this Senate. In each of all these exchanges, we were able to advocate for better conditions and opportunities for Filipino workers abroad. And we're able to explore possibilities in defense cooperation, trade agreements, academic and cultural exchanges, agricultural partnerships towards a more globally involved Philippines. Last year, the Senate successfully hosted the 31st annual meeting of the ASEAN Pacific Parliamentary Forum, a move that allowed us to strengthen our bilateral and multilateral relationships and tell the world that we are here, ready to partner in progress alongside the rest of the democratic world. We work to secure peace in the region so we can protect our fisher folk and their livelihood here on our waters. We reached out to draw investors in so we can create more jobs for our people. Sa huli, iuuwi natin lahat ng ating ginagawa para sa bayan at para sa taong bayan. While we work on hitting the goal of becoming an upper middle class income economy in the next few years, we also know that ultimately, development is not just about GDP growth. Walang tunay na kaunlaran hanggat may Pilipinong namamatay sa gutom o sa kawalan ng serbisyong medikal. Walang tunay na kaunlaran hanggat may mga kabataan tumitigil sa pag-aaral para magtrabaho para sa kanilang mga pamilya. Walang tunay na kaunlaran hanggat hindi matatanggap o natatanggap ng manggagawang Pilipino ang disenteng sahod. Senate President or not, I will continue to push for the welfare of our laborers until they receive decent wages that they deserve. The Senate has also been a committed partner to the armed forces of the Philippines and Coast Guard in defending the nation. No Senate has been more outspoken in opposing foreign aggression than the one that sits today. And lest we be accused of being all talk, let me assure you that this Senate has been working hand in hand with the armed forces and the Coast Guard in making necessary budget allocations for the procurement of maritime assets, arms, and defense systems. Lagi ko nga pong sinasabi, hindi nagkukulang sa puso at tapang ating mga sundalo at miyembro ng Coast Guard. Kailangan lang tapatan natin ang tamang mga kagamitan at mga sasakyan pagdigpandagat at panghimpapawid para tulungan silang ipaglaban ang ating bansa. Of course, none of these measures and budgetary allocations would have reached the President's table without the vital work of our Senate employees. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart the members of the Office of the Secretary, Secretary Ray Bantug, Legislative, Administrative, and Finance Services, of course, Attorney Mavic, External Affairs and Relations, the Office of the Sergeant at Arms, my dear friend, my loyal friend and good friend, General Angkan, who ensure the security of the Senate, and of course, the staff of the senators who are all crucial to every step of lawmaking, to the whole Secretariat. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. I love you guys, you know that. So as Senate President, I'm proud to have led institutional reforms for the benefit of our Senate employees. Mahal na mahal ko kayong lahat, mga empleyado ng Senado. For one, we have made sure to repay our employees' dedication with increased benefits, especially our long-serving employees who have devoted their life's work to the Senate. Marahil ay alam naman po ninyo kung ano-ano po ang mga monetary at non-monetary benefits na naibahagi sa inyo mula sa aking pamumuno. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. And I think we've been the most generous, and I'm proud of it. We have also gone full speed ahead on regularizing our casual and contractual employees. So many of our employees, particularly the hardworking folks in the Office of the Sergeant at Arms, sa OSA, are just one step away from being regularized. Tinutulungan po natin sila pumasa ng civil service exam para matulungan po natin sila sa prosesong ito. By taking care of our own, the Senate has been able to perform better, supported as we are by the great work of our Senate employees. I salute each and every one of you for the job that you do. We are nothing without you. Maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon na masuklian ang trabaho ninyo para sa Senado. You have helped shape the legacy of the Senate in its first 2 years under the 19th Congress. Now, I do not want to make any grand proclamations about the legacy of the Senate in these 2 years. Our legacy is not for us to define. Ultimately, that will be for the Filipino people to decide. All we can do is put work in and hope that our record speaks for itself. And the record, I'm happy to say, has been met with approval. Under our leadership, the Senate has seen some of the best approval and satisfaction ratings in recent history, going back to 1988. Napakalaking karangalan po ito at nabigyan po kami ng lakas ng loob na lalo pang pagbutihin ang serbisyo natin dito sa Senado. As Senate President, I look back on these 2 years with immense pride over what the Senate has accomplished and stood for under my leadership. We have been bold and courageous as a Senate, unafraid to call out injustice where we see it, whether in our sovereign seas or within our own government. We have been fair-minded and truth-driven in the Senate, despite the political noise that often surrounds us. We have been a compassionate Senate, listening to and acting on our people's call for decent jobs, equitable wages, and accessible health care. And we have been a staunchly independent Senate. Let me say that again. We have been a staunchly independent Senate, holding strong against all threats against our institution and against very threats to the very foundation of the democracy in which our nation is built. Indeed, these 2 years, I have come to realize that being Senate President is not only about leading the troops, but also putting oneself on the line. If that's what it takes to protect our institution. And so I have put myself on the line to shield the Senate from all attacks, particularly from efforts to diminish the powers of this institution as the country's last bastion of democracy. In January, we fought against the dreaded People's Initiative, which would have destroyed this very institution I'm standing here right now. God knows what I had to do to defend the Senate. Throughout all this, I could count on each and every one of our colleagues, both from the majority and the minority, whose wisdom and cooperation helped shape the identity of the Senate for this post-pandemic age. But I want to thank my leadership team and those who stayed beside me till the very end. Ma'am Lauren, my Senate President Pro Tem, thank you very much for your loyalty and wisdom. I know many times temptations have been called to you, but you've been steadfast. Maraming salamat, ma'am. True test of character. Maraming salamat. To my dear Majority Floor Leader, pare, thank you for your hard work and dedication. Isa ka sa pinakamasipag nating Majority Floor Leader. Pare, thank you for your friendship till the very end. I love you. You know that. Mahal kita. I will always cherish your support. To Sunny, possibly the best finance chair this institution has ever had, I thank you, sir. I thank you. You know, your father was like a father to me. And I'm happy to call you my brother, sir. Senator JV, what can I say? Your loyalty, your friendship and hard work, which you helped steer many important measures in this institution. Sir, I'm proud to call you my friend. Nancy, who's been loyal from day one as a friend, never waving. Thank you, my dear. I love you dearly and your family. Sherwin, my kumpadre. Pare, maraming salamat, pare. You are a good friend and kumpadre. I'm proud that you're the ninong of my son. To Bato de la Rosa, who stuck it out with me till the very end. Sir, I salute you, sir. To the others, my dear friends, my heart is broken. I am proud to have led a Senate that's been resolute in protecting our institution, our democracy, and our people. Being an independent leader, I gave way for each member of the Senate also to be independent and to come to decisions through collaboration rather than direction. I have never dictated my position on any of you. You know that. I've always supported your independence, which is probably why I face my demise today. I failed to follow instructions from the powers that be. Simple as that. I've listened to all my colleagues throughout my Senate presidency, and again I listen to them today. As we head into a new period for the Senate, I fought the good fight. If I've ruffled some feathers in doing so, then so be it. Hindi ko tinanggap ang pagiging Pangulo ng Senado para lang hayaan na bumagsak ito. Today, I offer my resignation as Senate President of the Republic of the Philippines. And upon stepping down, I vow to serve as an independent member of the Senate. My allegiance as ever belonging only to the Filipino people. I leave with my head held high, knowing that I did what is right for the Senate and for the nation. I wish our new leadership the very best, and I pray that they will be steadfast in upholding the independence of this beloved institution. I will remain vigilant to make sure that the traditions and the rules of the Senate will remain steadfast. Once again, maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang Senado, mabuhay ang Republika ng Pilipinas.
Thank you very much, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, for your heartfelt speech. We are grateful for your service to the institution. Thank you for your service to the nation. Thank you for a job well done, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri. Session is suspended.
Let me start by saying, Madam President, na kulang po ang salita upang ipaabot ang taus-puso nating pasasalamat sa ating inspirational leader, ating naging Senate President Migs Zubiri. Maraming salamat, SP Migs. Maraming salamat. Madam President, anuman po ang ating politikal na paniniwala, saan man po tayong grupo nakabilang o napapabilang, sa bandang huli, isa lang po ang ating pinipili, ang ating minamahal na Pilipinas. Being part of the leadership, Madam President, carries a cost, requiring leaders to be ready to consistently make sacrifices, prioritizing the interest of their organization, institution, or even their country above their own self-interest. And so today, Madam President, I tender my resignation because the greater cause outweighs my personal interest. Maraming salamat po, Madam President.
Thank you very much, our Majority Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva. We thank you for your service to the institution and your service to the nation.
Thank you. Madam President, thank you. Madam President, may I move that we recognize Senator Nancy Binay?
Senator Nancy Binay is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just like to manifest that I'm also resigning as chairperson of the Committee on Accounts and Tourism and Ethics. Thank you, Madam President.
We take note of the manifestation of Senator Nancy Binay.
Madam
Thank you. We thank you for your dedication to duty as well.
Madam President, Senator Sani Angara is also seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized.
We recognize Senator Sani Angara, Chairman of the Committee on Finance.
Thank you to the beauteous presiding officer. Majority Leader, I'd like to pay tribute to our outgoing Senate President, our outgoing Majority Leader, our outgoing Senate President Pro Temp, and the leadership team, who was a very productive. I think there's no reason, of course, emotions may dictate that they bow their heads, but there's no reason to bow their heads. Talagang, I think, when all is said and done, when history is written, wala silang ikakahiya. They stood on the right side of history. I think when this institution was under threat, pinaglaban ni Senate President Zubiri ang ating institusyon, pinaglaban niya ang ating taumbayan dun sa mga gustong solohin ang kapangyarihan. To our Majority Leader, thank you for being here day in, day out, late, along with Senator JV's team. To you, it's a very productive team, so I just want to thank. But at the same time, I'd like to also tender my resignation as the chairperson of the Committee on Finance, the chairperson of the Committee on Youth, and the chairperson of the Subcommittee on Constitutional Amendments, in order to give the new leadership a free hand to choose who they wish to fill up these positions. And I thank our colleagues for the chance to serve them for the last 5 years as the chairperson of the Committee on Finance. I think we achieved real progress together, and I think if at all I was able to empower you to fulfill or to realize your advocacies, I think yun ang masasabi po natin. And I wish the incoming chairperson, Senator Grace Poe, is a great senator, very hardworking, the best on the job. She's definitely up to it, and of course to the new leadership, Senate President Cheese Escudero, I wish you and your team the best, sir. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you po.
We would like to thank Senator Sonny Angara for his brilliance, his fairness, his dedication to duty as chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, a post I held before him. Thank you so much, Senator Sonny. We appreciate the work you've done.
Madam President,
Majority
Senator
Leader.
JV Ejercito, our Deputy Majority Leader, is seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized, Madam President.
Our Deputy Majority Leader, Senator J.V. Ejercito, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I'd like to thank the Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri for the trust and confidence. Majority Leader Joel Villanueva, of course, Madam President, the Senate leadership for entrusting me to become the Deputy Majority Leader for the past 2 years. And all I can say is that I'm very proud to be part of this team under the leadership of President Migs Zubiri. One thing is for sure, this team is principled, hardworking, and this team fought for the institution. And those countless nights, evenings, especially during the budget hearings, will always have a mark in my history. And again, I would like to resign, of course, to give the new leadership a free hand in reorganizing the Senate leadership. But again, I would like to say that I will always be proud to be part of this institution and proud to have been part of the leadership under Senate President Migs, who really was a very productive team. And thank you very much also to the Senate staff for your cooperation in that at the times that we were on the floor. Again, to the new leadership of under Senator Cheese, good luck to their team, and you can always count on us to be there, no, as a senator of the Republic. Mabuhay po kayo lahat.
Thank you very much to our hardworking Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you very
Senator
much,
JV.
Madam President. Madam President, at this juncture, may I move that we recognize the distinguished gentleman from City of Taguig and Pateros, no other than Senator Alan Peter Cayetano.
Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, Presiding Officer, our Senate President Pro Tem. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Yan po ang nasa Jeremiah 29:11. At maging Kristiyano, Hudyo, Muslim, ay nirerespeto si Jeremiah bilang isang propeta. At kahit naman hindi naging isang prophetic word to, kung ang ina at ama ay mahal ang kanilang anak, ano pa kaya ang Diyos na naglikha sa atin? But if you look at the verse, I have plans for you. Plans are based on a vision, and plans become vision depending on the choices you make, and choices are defined by priorities. I am sure that all of us articulate it in a different way, but we try to honor God, build communities, and transform this nation. Sa diwang yan, as I stand to nominate a person that I believe should be our next Senate President, I would like to nominate him and give thanks to Senator Zubiri in my own personal way. In 1998, excited, konting kaba, o maraming kaba, um, with pride as the youngest member of the 11th Congress, I walked into the Batasang Pambansa at a historic moment where the first batch elected under the 1987 Constitution graduated, and the first batch with the most number of neophytes took office. That is where I met Miguel Zubiri and where I met Chis Escudero. So first, I think the gratitude is shared not only by those who have supported the leadership and continue to want Senator Zubiri to be the Senate President. I think tayo naman po lahat ay nagpapasalamat. So in behalf of everyone, Senate President Zubiri, maraming salamat. We are all, we all have gratitude in our heart for the service that you've given. Siguro we can give him a hand. I know it's against the rules, pero... So in 1998, even then, Migs Zubiri was much more fashionable than Chis Escudero. Maybe now, they're both fashionable. Thank you, Migs, to your beautiful wife who's not only caring, who's not only supported you, who's not only raised your children, but made sure that you are fashionable. So we'd also like to thank her for sharing you with us these last 2 years. Thank you very much. So in 1998, Chis had thick glasses, did not smile, was the illustrious son of an illustrious father. Everyone knew the Minister of Agriculture. He had more fashion than Chis noon. Makikita mo lahat ng barong niya may red, blue, and white. And yung isang legacy nung tatay niya was Chis wanted to enter politics earlier than 1998. Pero his father, very much like Senator Pia's father, believed in education. Yun ang nabasa ko sa dyaryo, but later on I found out yung nanay din pala. Yung nanay was also there telling then Congressman Escudero, when he was yet law student Escudero, when he was yet attorney Escudero, you cannot enter politics unless you prepare. So all of his previous attempts at different positions from the local government, hindi siya pinayagan until his parents believed na hinug na yung panahon. And in 1998, his career started. Hindi ko na po isa-isahin dahil napakahaba pa ho ng oras from 1998 to ngayon na 2024 na. But I'd like to mention that when we say prepare, obviously I did not support him in 2016 because I was running against him. If you look at history, there were times that 101% ang support ko kay Senator Escudero, like when he was minority leader in the many battles, impeachments, fight against unjust taxes, etc. But if you look at history, marami din sa atin, and this is not only kay Senator Escudero, even with Senate President Zubiri, there were times na buong-buo yung suporta, there were times na hindi kami magkapanig, may time na nagdidebate, sometimes you even lose your cool, but the friendship and relationship remained. So what I am trying to say is that ang kulang na lang kay Chis noon para sabihin nating handa siya sa third highest position sa ating bansa, na handa siya na i-lead ang 24 senador, is probably executive experience. Kasi from 3 terms sa Kongreso, pangatlong term na rin ito bilang senador, lahat na pinagdaanan niya, judicial, quasi-judicial, administrative, legislative, ang kulang lang talaga po niya, executive experience. But of course, as a lawyer, and in between his other jobs, he had a lot of leadership experience. But as governor of Sorsogon, and he reminds people it is not as rich as the top 5 richest cities or top 5 richest province in the country. But yet, if you take a look at a short 3 years, again, hindi ko papakabaan, pero napakarami pong accomplishments, napakarami pong ginawa. And the hope I have is that whatever hindered him in doing more in the province of Sorsogon, he will address that as Senate President. For example, the bureaucracy, lahat na lang kailangan mayor, governor, pirmahin. Parating pagka magdadagdag ng tax, national, yung local, gustong bawasan. So forth and so on. No? So I just ask people, if you're watching now, i-google nyo na lang si Cheese Escudero. Kung hindi kayo naniniwala sa akin, i-google nyo yung picture niya noong 1998 at i-google nyo. So we have a very passionate leader. We have a very fashionate leader. But we also have a very prepared leader kung magkakaisa tayo at sana po'y magkaisa tayo. So Madam Senate President, Madam Chair, may I, with all humility but with pride, nominate someone I respect, I admire, and look forward to. I look forward to him being our leader, and I look forward that I will be able to contribute and do my part. May I respectfully and humbly nominate Francis Cheese Escudero as Senate President this afternoon. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. We take note of your nomination of Senate President Francis Cheese Escudero. May I hear from the Deputy Majority Leader, Mark Villar? Yes, may I hear the motion of the Acting Majority Leader?
I move to recognize Senator Jingo Estrada.
Can you please speak louder?
Sorry, I move to
Yes.
recognize Senator Jingo Estrada.
Oh, is that another motion for nomination?
I move that we close the period of nomination, Madam
Yes.
President.
We take note of the nomination. Thank you. And the period of nomination for the Senate President is now closed. Hearing no objection, hearing none, the motion for nomination of the Senate President of the Philippine Senate is now closed. May we hear a motion from the Acting Majority Leader, Senator Mark Villar?
With the permission of Senator Villar, since there are no objections and there's only one candidate, I move that we elect Senator Escudero by acclamation and that the chair bang the gavel, symboling that we elect Senator Escudero as our new Senate President. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any objections? Hearing none. The election of Senate President Francis Cheese Escudero is hereby recognized. Congratulations, Senator Francis Cheese Escudero.
Madam Chair, may I ask for a minute suspension so that we can prepare, and Senator Escudero, may we ask and request Senator Escudero to take his oath as Senate President.
Session is suspended. Just to remind the body, this representation has not yet tendered her resignation unless you want to keep me, but I have a prepared resignation as well. So I intend to go down and deliver my resignation as well, unless you want to keep me here.
Senate President will preside.
I appreciate
Senate
his not
President.
wanting
Thank
to
you.
replace me, but I have a prepared resignation, and I appreciate your statement.
Thank you.
Session is suspended.
Tawaran at hindi kayang sabihin sa maikling talumpati ni Senate President Zubiri ang lahat ng mga tagumpay na nakamit niya sa loob ng mahigit 2 taon. At gayon din, lahat ng mga pagbabagong nagawa niya sa loob at labas ng bulwagang ito. Si Senator Zubiri nakilala ko noong 1998, kasabay ni Senator Cayetano, tulad ng sinabi niya. Spice Boys ang tawag sa kanila noon, Bright Boys ang tawag sa amin noon. Kami kumampi sa magkabilang panig. Magkaibang kulay ang aming dinala. Subalit sa labas ng ilaw ng kamera, sa labas ng mga debate sa Kongreso, hindi nagbago o nagiba ang aming relasyon. Minsan, sabi nga ni Alan, nagkakainitan, nagdedebate, pero kailanman, hindi na bago ang relasyong yon habang dumaloy ang taon. Magkasing tagal na kami ni Senate President Zubiri sa Senado at sa Kongreso. May konti lang ako na papel na ginampanan bilang gobernador sa aming lalawigan ng Sorsogon. My hats off to you, Senate President Zubiri. I salute you, and I hope I will make you proud, you especially among all our other colleagues. And hopefully, you will not leave my side whenever I ask for guidance, whenever I ask for help, and whenever I ask for your wisdom. Mas malayo po at mas marami kayong alam sa akin, lalo na bilang tagapangulo ng Senado. Sana magkasama pa rin tayo sa mga bagay na yan sa mga darating na panahon. Binabati ko rin ang ating Majority Leader na si Senator Joel Villanueva at ang ibang mga nagbitiw sa kanilang mga posisyon. Hindi ito ang katapusan, kaugnay ng ating pagtatrabaho ng sama-sama dito sa Senado. Lalo na si Senator Joel na alam ko ay maraming gabi ang kinuha natin mula sa kanyang asawa, mga anak at pamilya dahil nagsusunog siya ng kilay dito sa floor ng Senado para maipasa ang mga mahalagang panukalang batas na kinakailangan ng ating mga kababayan. Walang my team, walang your team para sa akin. Walang SP Migs, wala ring cheese para sa akin. Ang tingin ko sa bawat isa sa atin ay mga miyembro ng nag-iisang Senado. At kung may kulay man tayong dadalhin para sa akin, ang mga kulay na yan ay dapat sumasagisag sa bandila ng Pilipinas na hindi naman nagkataon lamang na nasa likod ko at nasa harapan natin ngayon. Kulay na puti na sumasagisag sa pagkakapantay-pantay ng bawat Pilipino. Kulay na pula na handa tayong pumatay, hindi lang palaging mamatay. Alang-alang sa kalayaan ng ating bansa. Asul, pagkakaroon ng Pilipinas ng sariling lahi na kakaiba sa ibang mga lahi. Kaya walang pwedeng magsabing pabor sino man sa isang bansa. Tayong lahat naniniwala ko, pabor sa Pilipino at sa Pilipinas. At pinakahuli, dilaw ang araw at mga tala. Sumasagisag na mataas na mga pangarap ng ating mga kababayan, mataas na pangarap natin para sa ating mga kababayan, upang sa gayon, makamit nila ang matagal nilang minimithi na tunay na tulong at pagkalinga mula sa nasyonal na pamahalaan. Naway sa bawat salitang bibigkasin natin dito, naway sa bawat gawain na ating gagawin dito, palagi tayong mapaalalahanan ng mga importanteng bagay na yan ng ating bandila na sumasagisag sa bansa at sa sambayanang Pilipino. Maraming salamat po muli sa tiwala at nakahanda po akong pagsilbihan kayo sa anumang makakaya natin habang sabay-sabay natin pinagsisilbihan ang bansa at ang sambayanang Pilipino. Thank you to my colleagues and thank you for everyone. Senator Coco Pimentel is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let the minority be the first one you recognize during your tenure, Mr. President. The minority of the Senate, of course, wish to congratulate our immediately preceding Senate President, Senator Migs, for the many achievements. We have seen his dedication to this institution. Grabe magtrabaho itong ating SP. And he has been fair. Very, very fair. Not only to all of you sa majority, but to us sa minority. You've been very fair to us, sir. And we look forward to the same policy and attitude from our new Senate President. So that's why marami tayong na-achieve. And I think our critical collaboration, I think, improved the measures that we have passed under your leadership, SP Migs. So thank you for your service, and of course, to the entire leadership, our Senate President Pro Tempore, Senator Legarda, and of course, the person I dealt with most extensively during his term, his tenure, Majority Leader Joel Villanueva. Salamat po sa inyo. And of course, si Senator Sani, alam na po niya yan. He has also been, I'll just use the word fair to all of us. Thank you. And so, Mr. President, upon consultation with my partner in the minority, we want to make it clear that although we were silent during your election as Senate President, let us explain our vote that we really intended, and we we did not cast a vote, so that is we abstained in the election of the Senate President. And with that, we manifest our desire and our intention to remain in the minority, Mr. President. So let that be officially on record, Mr. President. Thank
The
you very much.
remarks of the gentleman is duly noted from our distinguished minority floor leader.
Mr. President,
Assistant Majority Floor Leader.
yes, Mr. President, I move to suspend the session. You have to resign. Okay. I withdraw the motion, Mr. President, and I move to recognize Senator Lauren Legarda.
Senator Legarda is recognized.
Mr. President, honorable colleagues, today I stand before you with profound gratitude and honor. It has been the greatest privilege of my career to serve as your Senate President pro tempore for nearly 2 years. With integrity, determination, and perseverance, we have overcome challenges and achieved significant milestones that I will forever cherish. I am thankful for the trust and confidence each of you has placed in me throughout my tenure as your Senate President pro tempore. I am immensely proud of the work we have accomplished together. To Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, your leadership has been instrumental in guiding this esteemed chamber towards greatness. Your dedication to public service inspires us all. To the Majority Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva, I am grateful for the camaraderie, collaboration, and the hard work we've all put together, we've shared in the pursuit of our shared goals. To all the members of this esteemed body that I have served since 1998 as the most senior, as we transition to a new leadership of Senate President Escudero, I pledge my full support to those who will carry our mission forward. May you build upon the solid foundation we have laid and elevate our Senate to even greater heights. My commitment remains as steadfast today as it was during my first days as senator in 1998, to tirelessly advocate for policies and legislation that will uplift our nation and improve the lives of every Filipino. I hereby tender my resignation as Senate President pro tempore to allow the new leadership to organize its committees and leadership. Thank you, Mr. President and esteemed colleagues, for this remarkable journey.
Chair thanks our distinguished Senate President pro tem, Senator Lauren Legarda.
Mr. President, I move to suspend the session to allow the members to congratulate our new Senate President.
Session is suspended. Assistant Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed to the election of the Senate President pro tempore.
There is a motion. Hearing no objection, same is hereby approved.
Mr. President, is there any nomination? No nominations. Okay. No nomination. Mr. President, since there are no more nominations, I move that we close the nominations. Yeah. And okay. President. Mr. President, pursuant to Rule 2, Section 2 of the Rules of the Senate, there being no other candidate for Senate President pro tempore, I move that we unanimously elect Senator Jinggoy Estrada by acclamation.
There is a motion. Hearing no objection, same is hereby approved. Congratulations, Senator Jinggoy, and may I invite Senator Jinggoy to ascend the rostrum to take his oath. Session is suspended to give time to the
Estrada,
having been elected Senate President pro tempore,
having been elected as Senate President pro tempore,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
the duties of my present
the
position
duties of my present position
and of all others I may hereafter hold under the Republic of the Philippines.
and of all others I may hereafter hold under the Republic of the Philippines.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines.
That I will obey the laws,
That I will obey the laws,
the legal orders,
legal orders,
and decrees promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
and decrees promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
and maintain true faith and allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines.
and maintain true faith and allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines.
And that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
And that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily,
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Session is suspended for a few minutes.
President, I move that we elect Senator Francis Tolentino as the chairman of Rules and thereby the majority floor leader. So move.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The same is hereby approved. Senator Francis Tolentino is the chairman of the Committee on Rules and our majority floor leader. May I ask Senator Tolentino to kindly ascend to the rostrum to take his oath, and if he has any family member to kindly accompany him. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name.
I, Francis Tolentino,
Having been elected chairman of the Committee on Rules,
having been elected chairman of the Committee on Rules,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will well and faithfully discharge,
that I will well and faithfully discharge,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
the duties of my present position,
the duties of my present position,
and of all others I may hereafter hold under the Republic of the
and
Philippines.
of all others I may hereafter hold on the Republic of the Philippines.
That I will obey the laws,
That I will obey the laws,
the legal orders,
the legal orders,
and decrees promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
the legal orders decrees promulgated by the duly constituted authorities,
and shall maintain true faith and allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines.
and shall maintain true faith and allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines.
And that I impose this obligation upon myself
That I impose this obligation upon myself
voluntarily,
voluntarily,
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Assistant Majority Floor Leader,
President, before that, Mr. President.
Senator Cayetano is recognized.
Mr. President, just before that, a number of members want to express their gratitude whether to Senate President, Senate President Zubiri or Majority Leader Joel Villanueva. Can we do that tomorrow or Wednesday for those who want to express their gratitude, including myself, Mr. President?
Noted. Thank you for the manifestation, Senator Cayetano. I may now recognize our Majority Floor Leader, Senator Tolentino. You are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, and with the election of a new Senate President, I move that we adopt a resolution informing the President of the Philippines and the House of Representatives that the Senate leadership has been reorganized and has elected the Honorable Francis G. Escudero as its Senate President. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the same is approved.
Mr. President, in view of the resignation of the chairman of the Committee on Accounts and the vacancy thereof, there is now a need to elect a new chairman for the said committee, and I move that we elect the Honorable Alan Peter Cayetano as the new chairman of the Committee on Accounts. Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senator Cayetano is elected chairman of the Committee on Accounts.
May I move for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
Session is suspended.